I just got Resiners' new bubble removal and smart curing machine. Let's give it a try. It's my first time using this, and we're going to learn together and see how well it works at getting those pesky bubbles out of our resin. Stay tuned. Hello everybody, welcome back to Moonkusser Art. This is Janet, and I am happy to say that I have a new gadget for in my studio today. I received the Resiners. This is their bubble remover machine, as they call it, and I'm going to be learning about this. So I just got this. Let's get it unpacked and see what is in the box. Very nicely packed to keep it from getting broken, so that's good. All right. And this is the chamber. Oops. Sorry, a little close there. So that's our chamber for removing the bubbles. Get it unwrapped, get a look at what that looks like. And, oops. I don't think it matters if I tear the plastic. Okay. I have no idea how to use this machine, so I'm going to be learning about it today, and you guys are along for the ride. They have provided a manual, so I'm going to read all the information in the manual and understand exactly what it is I need to do. And what else is in here? There's the cord, because obviously got to have some power to make this thing work. It's nice. It has, I already can see this is going to be a nice tool for removing bubbles from resin, because it's got this rubber ring here on the bottom, and that's going to keep it from sliding around. So that's really nicely thought out. I like that. And this is going to sit on top like that. So here inside this ring is another rubber ring, and that's what's going to create the seal on the container. So that's good. It's got some modes that you can select from here on the top, so we will be looking at those. Again, there's the plug, and they've also included some really nice measuring cups, really well marked out. Notice it says on here, well, you can't notice because stuff's in the background. Hold on. There. Approximate measurements. So even though you see all these measurements here on the cup, depending on how the machine is printing these, they can be off. It's a great guide, but you should still always do your own measurements, okay? It's good for approximation, but like I said, you know, sometimes the bottoms are not quite flat or whatever, and that can throw everything off. So we will be using these and trying them out in the chamber. So let me go do my reading, and we'll be back. I will also be using, for the very first time, Resiners' Smart Curing Machine. Got this one also. I'm all about gadgets that will make working with resin a little bit easier, and having more time to use resin molds is always a great thing. So you're going to be learning about this machine as well. I'll be reading the manual. Read it carefully before use. you got it. I like to do that. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything correctly. Again, nicely packaged for shipping. And there we go. Get it out of the box. Okay. Package it well so that it doesn't arrive damaged. Gotta appreciate that. When you're waiting for something, you want to make sure that it's arriving ready to use. So it is electric. I'm not sure whether there's a blower in there, a heating element. Again, I'm going to read and find out. I can see that pops off. That pops out. Nice plastic. So that's going to tell me that if resin gets spilt in here, for whatever reason, it can happen. It'll pop off after it's cured because resin does not stick to plastic, as well as this is plastic, this is plastic. So let me go read my manual and let's get a project going. All right, I have done my homework for both the bubble remover machine and the curing machine air. So this one is very simple to use. This one, you have to, take your time, read the directions. They give some good tips as well. So we're going to start getting our resin ready. You can see I'm using Teexpert's leveling platform. It has a bullseye in the center, so it's easy to make sure you have a flat surface to work on. It's got leveling feet here on the back, so get you a real nice, precise surface. I'll be using, these are little medicine cups. They are marked for, milliliters. And they're marked in the plastic. So what I like to do is take a permanent marker and just make a line over top of their lines, because what I found is when I pour the resin in, the lines disappear. So it's very difficult to see your measurements. So I'm going to use those. And I'm also going to protect the surface of my board with a sheet of wax paper. So I'm going to go ahead and start measuring out equal parts. I'll be batching up 20 milliliters of Teexpert's 1-to-1 ratio general use epoxy. And let's get this started. All right, so everything is mixed up. You can see there's quite a few bubbles in there, but that's okay. We're going to use Resiners vacuum system to get those bubbles out. So let me, first you can see I have quite a bit of room in this cup. I wouldn't say quite a bit. It's filled 2/3. Okay, so that's going to give me room for it to expand, because it's going to expand as the bubbles bubble up and pop. And so I want to have a little bit of room in there for it to do that. And because I'm a neat freak, I'm going to drop this little cup into the big cup, because the last thing I want is to get resin in the bottom of my brand new bubble remover machine. So I'm going to put this inside the machine. I'm going to turn it on. I'll talk about it's probably going to make some noise, so I'll make a voiceover and we'll talk about what we're seeing as we're going through that. let's go to the bubble machine. All right, let's place the resin in the bubble remover. It gives you an automatic setting of 5 minutes. So it's going to do a little spinny thing on my desktop, but you can see the bubbles rising. And there it's done with its first round. Release the pressure from that button. And there you can see, after you release the pressure, the bubbles just drop down. Now, to be fair, my room temperature was a little bit on the chilly side, about 66 degrees. So that tends to make the resin a little bit thicker. So the bubbles were having a tough time getting out of there. I did run it through 3 courses using the bubble machine, and that got them out fairly good. I like to use a lighter to pop the bubbles, and then a drop of 90% alcohol on top pops them nice and clear. So now let's use a popsicle stick, and we're going to start putting the resin carefully into the mold. It's just clear resin at this point. I'm going to be making sets of earrings using the resin. I've got the tray for the curing machine is sitting here on my leveling tray from Teexpert. I'm using a toothpick to help spread that clear resin across the bottom of those molds that I'm using. I'm not using every single one. And then I'm going to be adding some glitter on top of that clear resin. I've got some cute little green hearts. So I'll be placing, or stars I should say, I'll be placing those into the different molds so that I can get a good look of what's going on there. So very carefully, just using a toothpick, it's got a little bit of resin on it, so it picks up those little stars and I can just place them where I want them. So let's speed things up a little bit here, get all the glitter into the molds that I want. A little bit on the tedious side, but it's okay. It's kind of fun to sit there and just do that. Now, using another type of glitter, this has got a holographic sparkle to it, going with Christmas colors here. And then we'll just put a little bit more resin on top of any of the glitter. A little bit of white sparkle in there. Get that looking good. You can just sprinkle it right across the top. It'll all get cleaned off. If it doesn't go into the mold, it'll come off the mold, the silicone mold, carefully. Now let's put it into the curing machine. So the top comes off just like that. And let's get the tray, keeping it very level as I move it over to the machine. I don't want to spill any of my resin. And we're going to get the lid, put that on top there. Just like that. Good. All right. And then we're going to run it through its timer. One button turns it on, and then the second tap turns the machine into its cycle. And this is going to run for 2 hours. All right. It has been 2 hours. The curing machine has an automatic timer in it. When you turn it on, it runs for 2 hours. You can always turn it off if you need to, but that's the time limit. It's 2 hours. So it's yeah, it gets warm, but not hot by any means. And so I'm going to check to see how cured these are. So let's just pick one here. I'm going to stick the toothpick in, back up a little bit so it's clearer. And it's hard. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Normally I have to pour and come back the next day. Let's test another one because, you know, not all are equal in, whoa, too close. Let's try to get a little better look. There. Peeky peek. Excellent. 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 Good. All right. That's pretty wonderful. So I'm going to batch up some more resin and do the next layer. Now I'm going to batch another 20 milliliters of the Teexpert resin. And just as before, I ran it through the bubble machine 2 times only because now the workshop is a little bit warmer. So it took 2 times to get the bubbles out. I am tinting some of the resin. You can see I'm using some black, and that is to create a background for the glitter of these earrings. They'll stand out nicely against that colored background. I'm being careful to look at the molds and make sure that I'm filling them as much as I can. This green here, this is a emerald from a Black Diamond Pigments. It's one of my favorite colors with them. There we go. Getting that fixed in there. And I've got a little bit of, this is a embossing powder from Ranger, and I'll use that along with some white glitter. You can use all different types of glitter in the resin. The white gives it a real nice frosty feel to it. The red stands out. And I'll be using a toothpick to just kind of tease that red out, get it a little bit of a wispy look, so that again, it creates a background for the glitters that I've already placed into those molds. We're going to put this back in the machine and run it through. So here it is back in the curing machine again. I was very, very pleased with how quickly it worked. And it's 2 hours. Lifting that top off, get a good look in there. It really just, I can't say enough about the curing machine. Works great. So let's get these pieces out of the molds. Speed things up a little bit here. Now, I didn't have to use any spray in these molds. They're so small, they release very easily from the silicone. Just popping those out there. Looking pretty cute. I think this one turned out to be my favorite set out of these. Really like that bling from the holographic glitter. Nice Christmassy colors. And of course, green is always good for the holidays. And there we are. Very cute. All right. Now I did put them together. I got all my hardware out and my plier tools. I put on the jump rings and the hooks, and we're all set with those. I'm going to give a really good thumbs up for both of the Resiners projects. The curing machine is probably my favorite. It's amazing that I can go from 24 hours down to 2 hours and be ready to add more resin. So that's a big thumbs up for me. The Resiners bubble machine, it worked really well. Next time I try it, I'll try to make sure that my resin is not as cold as it was today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you here next time back on Moonkusser Art.